Hi there, Malcolm here with my 51st Booktube video, and today I'll be bringing you November's wrap-up, in which I managed to read all of 5 books. I don't quite know what happened, but not much reading, obviously. First off, I finished reading Only You Can Save Mankind to my youngest son. This is by Terry Pratchett, and the first book in the Johnny Maxwell series. Johnny is playing a Space Invaders style game, when suddenly the aliens surrender. And the rest of the book bounces between the real world, where Johnny has to deal with issues like his parents' separation, his friends' run-in with crime, and other everyday normal stuff, and game space, where he almost single-handedly tries to defend the entire alien armada from all the other game players. A very clever premise, full of the usual wit and wisdom of Terry Pratchett, and a story my son thoroughly enjoyed listening to. Personally, as a reread, I got a lot more out of this than I did the previous time I read it, and I certainly didn't remember how poignant it is at times. Anyway, I'm very relieved to know that he wants me to read him the next book, Johnny and the Dead. Booktastic. Next up is my book of the month, New York 2140 by Kim Stanley Robinson. And if you want to know what I thought about this one, then please keep watching, because I haven't bothered to do a video on this. There's this time thing that keeps getting in the way by not being there. Set in the year 2140, no surprises there, and also New York, also no surprises there. The ice caps have largely melted, and so the sea level has risen quite substantially. However, life goes on in New York, where each of these skyscrapers has become individual communities. The story focuses on 8 inhabitants of the Met Building, where we have Vlade, who's in charge of maintenance and the upkeep of the building, who's discovered that someone is trying to sabotage it. Charlotte, the head of the Homeowners Association, and is pretty much in charge of the people who live in the building. Mutt and Jeff, 2 number crunchers who go missing right at the beginning of the book. Inspector Jen, who's in charge of trying to find the missing people. Money Spinner Franklin, someone who tries to be extremely callous, but despite his better nature, keeps on doing the right thing. There's internet sensation Amelia, who owns her own airship and is undertaking a mission to move some polar bears from the North Pole to the South Pole. And Stefan and Roberto, 2 orphan boys who are on a treasure hunt. At 613 pages, this took me a long time to get through. This possibly resulted in only reading 5 books this month, but after 2 weeks I was only about 50 pages in. I can't put it all down to the book. The book is broken into sections, with each section looking at each of the characters in turn, along with a bonus chapter featuring an unnamed citizen who informs the reader about the situation New York is in, and how it got like that. I would say the book is quite economically heavy, in that it does deal a lot to do with economies, finances, and money in general. And having never done economics, I did find some of that a little bit tricky to get through. But other than that, I found the story really interesting. All the characters very engaging. I enjoyed seeing how they bounced off each other in each section, and just seeing how they lived their lives over the 4 years this book covers. There's some really interesting themes in here, a very believable future, and worth reading. Next up's the library book, Cell 7 by Kerry Drury. The book starts off with the death of a popular reality TV celebrity, with the apparent murderer caught red-handed and captured straight away. However, in this version of reality, or pseudo-dystopian future, the judicial system is being disbanded, and in its place is a death row system lasting a week. The convicted spend 1 day in a different cell leading up to the day of execution, and the public get to watch them, Big Brother style, and vote on whether they are innocent or guilty. So forget things like alibis, or witnesses, or evidence, or motive, because the public can decide. And the public are never wrong, are they? Particularly when they vote. As a YA book, this was quite easy to read, if a little predictable. Even in the way it was set up, it was pretty obvious who actually did do it, but it was interesting enough how it played out. I would say the main character, Martha, was a little bit irritating, in that she spent most of the book as a sort of sulky, I'm not going to tell you anything, and it's all secrets, I'm going to leave it till the end, even if you even get that much. But essentially it doesn't really cover anything that other dystopian futures haven't already covered, and certainly the people of Britain know about the power of people's voting, and how wonderfully effective it is. But I would say it's worth reading, and I am intrigued in the next one. This is the first of a trilogy. Once I finish that, I then finished reading Mammoth, Book 1, Silver Hair by Stephen Baxter, which I started reading in November but only got halfway through before November ran out. As the title suggests, it follows a mammoth called Silver Hair, who, along with their family, are fighting to survive an increasingly difficult situation. I can't tell you too much without giving bits away. Yes, it's revealed quite early on in the story, but there's nothing on the outside to even hint at it, so I'll keep stum about that. The mammoths talk to each other, but in no way can this be mistaken for a Disney or even a Redwall story. There are some quite harrowing and brutal scenes in this, but also very, very satisfying. and I'm keen to read the next one. Worth reading. And finally I read Fat by Rob Grant. I last read this one 10 years ago, remembered bits of it, remembered enjoying it, but was actually blown away by how good this is and how relevant it still is. The plot follows 3 characters: an overweight celebrity chef who, despite dieting and starving himself and going on other weight-losing initiatives, can't seem to take that weight off, which, along with his short temper, results him into a lot of bother. It also follows an anorexic teenage girl from her point of view, and despite the author nor myself ever having been teenage girls or having anorexia, it was really believable that we were reading the thoughts of a teenage girl, and very insightful in the self-delusions that she put herself through and as to why and how she could justify doing what she did. The third character follows a spin doctor hired by the Prime Minister to justify the fat camps that have been built around the outskirts of towns, which, despite having concentration camps stamped all over them pretty much, are there purely for the good of the fat people. And what starts off as a simple job for him turns into a real eye-opener into people and himself. A really thought-provoking book that doesn't pull any punches. It may be fiction, but it's not that far from the truth, and also incredibly funny as well. Booktastic. And that was it. That's all I managed last month. But they were good books, so I'm not complaining. So I hope you like that. And if you would like to share with me your November wrap-ups, then please leave a link or list in the comment section down below. Alternatively, if you have any questions or comments to make about the books I've just showed you, then I'd love to read those as well. But as usual, if you have nothing nice to say, then please keep it to yourself. Thank you. Until next time, see you later.